Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things podcast. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with all my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Wayne Mullins on the line. He's founder over at Ugly Mug Marketing. Wayne, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam. Thanks so much for having me on today.
Oh, man. First off, when I saw the name of your company, Wayne, I smiled so big. I don't know why, growing up, that was like, I'm from the Midwest, I'm from Michigan, and that was one of our slang. I was like, yeah, ugly mug, like when we talk about somebody's face. So I laughed so loud when I saw it. I'm like, what's this guy named his company, Ugly Mug? I already love him. Man, that's awesome. So first off, we're going to talk about today, just for the listeners, we're going to talk about results-driven marketing, and Wayne's the guy that we wanted on the show to do that. But before we do get into that, Wayne, I do want to go further into your company overall, just so the listeners and myself have a better feel for what you do overall. So tell us more about Ugly Mug Marketing, please.
Sure, Adam. So Ugly Mug Marketing was founded about 11 and a half years ago, and over that time, we've kind of evolved and adapted in terms of the services that we provide. Today, we're kind of centered in 3 core areas. So one would be web development. So that's building and designing custom websites for clients. The next one would be on social media marketing, and specifically Facebook and Instagram. Those are our 2 strong points there. And then the last one is what we would just label general marketing. So that would be anything from print, radio, television, direct mail, any of those categories.
That's awesome. And I think that's a great transition. So let's dive into today's topic. So I know your take on marketing and what you're doing is a little bit different than maybe some companies out there. So results-driven marketing. First off, what is that? If you could define that, because I don't think all the listeners even know that exists. I know what it is, but I don't think everybody knows what it is.
Yeah, so in the marketing world, unfortunately, there tends to be a lot of smoke and mirrors. So there's always the latest, the greatest platform coming along. So if you think of social media, there was MySpace, there was Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's Snapchat. So there's always this evolving evolution in terms of the tools and the technology available. And what tends to happen, us as entrepreneurs, is we are attracted to the new, the glitzy, the glamorous. And unfortunately, our attention span is very short. So we jump from thing to thing to thing. And what we know to be true, and everyone listening knows this to be true, is that the fundamentals of marketing, the fundamentals of relationships, the fundamentals of business, the fundamentals are really where the magic happens. And so for us to get results, 2 things are required. Number 1, we have to be strategic. So we can't just jump on the next bandwagon. We can't just ditch, MySpace or Facebook for the next big thing, right? We have to be strategic. And then number 2, we have to ensure that the tactics, the actual things that we're doing play into our predetermined strategy. So those are the 2 core elements when we say results driven that we're looking for. We're looking for a very clear strategy, and the strategy must be in line with the company or the organization's goals, and then the tactics that go along with those specific things. And the one last thing I'll kind of wrap that thought up with is this, that so often we are trained to look for what we would call checklist marketing. So when we're looking maybe to hire someone to help us with our marketing or with our social media, whatever it may be, what we look for and what we're impressed by often would be a checklist. So here's the 23 things I'm going to do for you this month. And then at the end of the month, whoever that person is or that company is, they send you that checklist with a little checkbox in each of the little boxes saying, we did this, we did this, we did this, we did this. And you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, feel somewhat justified in that investment that you made over the past month because you've got this long checklist and you can see, okay, I'm getting value for my money. But the truth is, marketing is only effective when it produces a positive ROI. So for every dollar you spend, you're going to make back at least $1 on that.
I love it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I'm a fan of it. And based on like how long you've been doing this, that's the cool thing about what you do is that, you know, over a decade in business. So there's not like, if you think about the particular decade when this is being recorded in 2020, because who knows when somebody's listening to this on YouTube, so we're recording in 2020. If you think about the amount of platforms and the growth, I would argue that last decade, maybe 15 years, but probably decade is when things all changed to where now Facebook is mass media. Like that is your CNN or something else. And all these other platforms, not just Facebook, but it's all changed. Our perception, the way we kind of ingest content, if you will, has changed. What are some of the things, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives listening to this right now, what are, in the spirit of today's topic, results-driven marketing, what are some of the things, and whether it's, and I know it's going to vary, right, from size of company, like all these other things, but I know certain themes tend to arise. What are some things that they should be thinking about if they're going to pursue a results-driven marketing strategy?
Yeah, no, that's a very great question, because that's the point of clarity, right? If we don't understand what it is that we're after, none of the rest matters. So if we're heading in the wrong direction and we head in that direction more enthusiastically, we're just going to get there faster, right? We're going to get the bad result that much faster. And so the things that people need to be focused on first and foremost is, number one, who is our customer? Who is it that we are trying to serve? Who is it out there in the vast world, right, of infinite possibilities when it comes to customers and audiences that we can pursue? Who is the audience that we have the best shot at turning those people into what we would call evangelists for our company, for our brand, or for our product? And once you get clear about that audience, then the next question becomes, what is the message? What is the message that we can communicate to that audience that will speak to them, as one of the kind of famous old copywriters used to say, that we can enter the conversation that's already taking place in the mind of that audience? So first we start with audience. Second, we start with message, a message that resonates. And then the third element of that is we then decide the media. So from that point, we then look around and say, okay, based on my audience and based on the type of message that I need to communicate to that audience, what platform, what tools, where do I need to go with this message so that I can get that message in front of that people, that audience, in the most effective manner, the most effective way?
Man, that's awesome. I love it. I love the thought process, and I like it also because it reframes the way somebody maybe has looked at marketing before. Because the bottom line is, there's always been measurements, right? If we go way back when you think about newspaper advertising or like which still exists, I shouldn't say way back when, or magazine advertising, there's always metrics. I mean, some are more accurate than others, and if you're in digital, like most things at this point are really intense in terms of analytics. So it just depends on their strategy and what type of what type of feedback you want so that if you're getting the XYZ or whatever the result is that you're looking for. So I think it's awesome on what you're doing and how you're doing it. So Wayne, final question, and this is a multi-part question, not a hard one though. So if somebody's listening to this and they want more information on ugly mug marketing, so first part of the question, what's typically the right type of fit in terms of company, whether it's size or industry or niche or if it's revenue, whatever you go by at your company, number one. And number two, what's the best way for those types of individuals or organizations to reach out?
Yeah, great questions, Adam. So the first one is this. We like to work with what we would call growth-minded entrepreneurs. And that doesn't necessarily mean just in the business world. So we do a lot of work with nonprofits. We actually do a lot of work with even church organizations. And here's the thing that they all have in common, all of our clients have in common, is that they're growth-minded and they think entrepreneurially. So that would be number one. We love working with people who like thinking out of the box, like challenging the status quo. And then also the other element to that is they understand the value of marketing, right? We don't need to convince them that marketing is an important tool or important thing they need to have in their toolbox. So that's who we like to work with, all different types of organizations, as long as they have that growth mindset. And then the best way to reach us is just through our website, uglymugmarketing.com. On there, you can learn, all about our services. It's got all of our contact info, from emails to phone numbers, and all of our social channels on there as well.
Fantastic. Well, great stuff today, Wayne. Really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing more about your background and all the great work that you're doing. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Wayne, thanks again for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Adam. I enjoyed our time together.